Program complete. Enter when ready.
Welcome back to another Retrek review, where each week we talk about Star Trek. And this week is a little bit different and not our normal Retrek review. Today we're going to cover the entire original series of Star Trek. We always kind of do a look back on the season, but this time, because we've finished an entire series, we're going to do a look back on the whole thing. Okay, so let's do the thing that everybody wants.
Caleb.
Okay, so Caleb, what I did was I went back to our previous two videos and just did the season 1 and season 2, like things that you chose for the entire season.
Okay.
Instead of giving you every episode, you already kind of
Yeah.
picked what the best of those two seasons was. So I just went
Okay.
back to the other two videos. So, to award the entire series of the most unlikable character, the Erica Artegas Award, for season 1, you picked Trelane.
Mm.
For season 2, you picked Nona from A Private Little War.
Wow.
And for season 3, you picked Chekhov. So,
Oh man.
who gets it for the entire series?
Yes, I'm gonna go with Chekhov.
Wow, okay.
Not a fan.
The
Not a
whole
fan.
series, Chekhov.
Yeah. Well, he's only in like
6,
a
yeah.
season. Yeah.
Yeah, hey.
Maybe he gets better in the movies, but we'll see.
I think in the films he definitely doesn't get as he's not as crazed. He's just like he's just one of the characters, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. Well, like you were saying, because like every time you need somebody to be like crazy on the ship, they choose Chekhov because he's,
Yeah,
he's like the crazy Russian guy.
exactly, yeah.
And it's like, okay, gotcha.
Next is the most forgettable character. So in season 1, you picked Marla McGivers from Space Seed. In season 2, you picked Mirror Universe Captain Kirk. And in
Wow.
season 3, you picked Sulu.
Mm.
So for the entire series, who gets the Elizabeth Cutler Award and is the most forgettable character?
You know what I'm gonna say is along the lines of the MacGruber
Yeah. Yeah.
character. I'm gonna say that the guy from that episode, the actual like alien scientist guy.
Alien scientist guy
What was his
from
name? Well, so hold on. Hold on. What was she from? What episode is she from?
she's from the Khan episode. She's the one who falls in love with Khan.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so I literally like even forgot. I was picturing her as the secretary in the season 2 finale.
Oh, no. Mm-mm. That's Roberta Lincoln. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like her. I liked her in that episode. She's like the only
Yeah.
thing in that episode really that holds it together. I honestly would argue that like, yeah, that guy in that episode is like the most forgettable of the entire series.
Gary 7.
Yes. Because
Gotcha. Wow, okay.
it didn't go anywhere. It doesn't do nothing. Goes nowhere, does nothing, right? That's he
Yeah.
doesn't get his show. It's a bad take on Doctor Who.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. He's the most forgettable.
Cool. I like it. I like it a lot.
I really hate that episode, if I'm being honest with you.
Well,
That still
that's
not a
okay.
fan of that episode. Like the more I look back on it, it's just like Man, that's so out of place and kind of like ham-fisted in
Oh, it's totally is. It totally is.
that. And then for it to not even go on to like be its own series is like, yeah, nobody cares about it.
Why do you do this?
I don't care about the cat lady. I don't.
No. And like I said, the only other callback to it is in season 2 of Star Trek Picard. That's it.
Right?
A show that came out in like
Yeah.
2021 or 2022 or something like that.
A
So,
show that people don't really enjoy, but they
right.
canceled Lower Decks, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
they're
perfect.
like, hey, everybody hates Picard, so let's do another season of that. Let's get rid of Lower Decks.
Oh, yeah.
Discovery, how's people liking Discovery? Not great. Yeah, let's do another. Well, we'll do another season of that.
Next is the MVP award. And can you guess
MVP.
who got it for season 1?
Season one would have been Spock.
No,
No, it would have been
Scotty.
Kirk. Was it Scotty?
Yep. Do you know who got it
That's
for
funny.
season 2?
Scotty.
Do you know who got it for season 3?
I should because I just did it. Scotty.
Scotty.
Oh, well, this is pretty easy then.
So then, really, for all of the entire series, who gets the Trip Tucker Award for being the MVP?
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be Spock.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
No, it's gotta be Scotty. Scotty's the best.
Scotty is
He's
the
the
best.
best.
He's the best.
I love him. He's just a great character. He's always fixing stuff. He's always saving everybody.
Yeah,
Without Scotty, you know, there would be no Star Trek.
it's true.
I even think back to the episode where I think it was Galileo 2, right? Where
Okay.
they're getting attacked by those giants
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
everybody's arguing and fighting and Scotty's just like, I'm just trying to fix the I'm just trying to fix the thing, you know, and it's like he just so does not care about
No.
like everybody's turmoil. He's just like, if I can fix this, then we can leave, right? Like I don't care about like what we should do with that guy's body. I really don't care. It's
You
that's not
can
even part of the
figure that out.
equation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
Like
good.
nothing is gonna happen if the ship can't leave the ground. Right? So who cares what we're doing with a dead dude outside? I don't care.
I'm curious to think who will be the MVP come the next generation.
Oh boy.
Curious to see. Yeah, like
Riker.
overall, like oh yeah, like overall, who do you end up like kind of latching onto in that series? Next is the Best Action Sequence Award. So in season 1, you had Kirk versus the Gorn Captain.
Yeah.
Then you had in season 2, Kirk forced to fight a crazed Spock in a muck time. And then in season 3, you had the sword fight in engineering with the Klingons.
Yeah. Season
So,
3 sucks.
so for the entire series, what gets the Shran Award for the best action sequence?
That is funny, right? Like the season 1 and season 2, you name these like very like pivotal classic episodes that like everybody knows, and then season 3 is like whatever that time that they kind of fought in engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Hmm.
yeah. It's got to be a muck time.
Okay.
You know, it's a classic episode. It's been referenced 1,000 times. It's a great episode.
Yeah.
Two friends battling in an arena.
Yep.
Death. It's
That,
great.
that.
I don't understand. We're just fighting each other. Yeah, it's to the death. Like, oh, that's probably not good. I sure hope Bones brought a syringe full of knockout syrup.
Yeah. Next is the Sweet Ship Stuff Award. And so for that, for season 1, you did the transporter room.
Okay.
Anytime there was the transporter room. Season 2, you picked the scene from the Ultimate Computer where all of the Constitution class ships were in like formation.
Mm.
When you saw like all of the different ships all together. And then in season 3, you picked engineering. Anytime you got to see all of engineering.
Yeah.
So, what gets the NX01 award for some sweet ship stuff?
So it's probably a cop out, but I'm just gonna say like all of the classic like 50s Trek like technology is great. That's what like I really attached to in this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
series
Mm-hmm.
was like all of that like 50s sci-fi like technology. Like I loved it. The Trident scanner, like the wall comms, they're so like iconic, you know.
Yeah,
All that stuff, the phasers, the communicators, the all that stuff. Like I love all that stuff.
that's cool.
It's very good. It's very good. There's it reminds me in that episode I was talking about with the lower decks crossover where
Oh,
he gets on board and they're like, yeah, his communicator and everything is like built into his like Delta.
oh yeah.
And Pike's like, that's interesting. He's like, I like, but then you can't like flip it open. And she's like, yeah, I know. I like ours much better too. Like, I really like that because it's so funny
Yeah,
to me that it takes so long for him to get just like badge comms.
right, right.
But the fact that like Pike is like, I like flipping it. It's cool. It's like fun to flip it open. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
on board.
Next is the cheesiest thing of the episode. So for season 1, you picked Spock's mind meld with the Horta.
Yeah.
In season 2, you picked the entire episode of Assignment Earth.
Mm.
And lastly, in season 3, you picked the female Romulan commander and Spock's hand affection. So, for the entire series, what gets the Porthos Award and is the cheesiest thing in the series?
Man, that's tough. I really hate the hand stuff.
Okay, okay,
I
yep.
really hate that like episode. Yeah, the whole episode to me is cheesy because it's like obviously they don't want Kirk to be the guy that has to like swoo this like female captain,
Right, right.
but for them to not just make Spock like a Romulan infiltrator,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
right.
extra work that they had to go through to make Kirk look like a Romulan and not just Spock,
Right.
just for Spock to be able to like like yeah, it's pretty bad.
It definitely feels like it should have been a flipped episode.
Yeah. And a lot of the dialogue I think is what makes it worse.
Yeah. Would you have liked it more if it was Kirk and the lady? And she was
Probably
like, "Oh, I've
not.
never had an alien touch before."
Huh? No. No, probably
No.
would not have liked it more. No.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
fair enough. And lastly, we have the Star Trek Enterprise Award for the best scene. So in season 1, you had Kirk being happy about crushing the Gorn captain with a boulder. In season 2, you had Kirk being buried in the tribbles and being annoyed at the door.
Huh?
And in season 3, you had Kirk stopping Spock and Scotty from harming each other on the bridge. So, what gets the Enterprise Award for the best scene of the series?
I always will love anytime where Kirk is giving like a speech or a morale speech.
Okay.
But I really love him in the court scene. And obviously it's not Kirk, but the whole like court scene, and he's like punching the desk. It's just like Shatner's so good in that episode.
Yeah, yeah.
I also like the scene when he walks in and he sees the Tribbles and he's like, Tribbles.
I
Uh,
retrospectively, since watching this short and stuff, I think retrospectively, I think he's going like, haha, because he's thinking about Chekhov and Scotty fighting the people like in his name slash the Enterprises, like the ship's name. And he's like, oh, those boys, those guys, oh, those fellas. And I think he's like daydreaming, and then he sits on the tribble and he's like, it turns him off. I think that's what it is, because I think the scene where he's like talking to Scotty and he's upset and he's like, how did this happen? I
mhm.
think like the next scene or two scenes later, it's him coming to the bridge after talking to Scotty, and that's why he's like, "Oh yeah." I think that's what's happening. Because I thought it was the same thing where he was
It's
just
really
like,
funny. Yeah.
"Nice, nice," but I don't think it
That's
is.
weird. It's weird to have him do that. Anyway, he's never
Yeah,
done that after
no,
any other conversation ever. Also, though, that's a great scene too when he's talking to Scotty and he's like, yeah, and then they said some horrible things about you, Captain. And he's like, oh, that's what started. Like, oh no, every man can take a few licks. He was talking about the Enterprise. That's when I had to hit him. Like, so you let him talk crap about your captain. Oh, it's just such a funny scene
right.
between the two of them. Oh man.
Yeah, it's really good.
There's also that scene where Kirk and Bones are talking about like the ramifications of like war,
Oh, and a private little war. Yeah,
hmm which is pretty good. Let's do, since it's the end of the season, there's end of the series.
the series. Yeah.
Let's do best episode, not best scene.
Okay, sure.
Let's do the Spock one when he has to fight in the arena for his wife. That's pretty
Amok
good.
Time.
Yeah.
It's a pretty classic one. There's a lot of ones I
Yeah.
showed you, but it is pretty iconic.
That's a pretty iconic episode, and it's a good Spock heavy episode, which I enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree. It's one of the few episodes, like in any of Star Trek, other outside of multiple episodes of Star Trek Enterprise, where they give you a lot of backstory about the Vulcans,
Hmm Yeah,
and
I like
it's
that.
like it's pretty great. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for an episode like that, like many of other than like Leonard Nimoy's performance, like a lot
Hmm
of how Vulcans operate, like what they do, the ritual stuff, like none of the other stuff after this would have any idea if they didn't have an episode like that. It'd all be
Yeah.
made up on the spot. So,
Yep. Yeah, and also like it kind of shaped how I feel about T'Pring like in Strange New Worlds.
yeah. Pretty funny though, right? To have that lady be a very prominent character in Strange New
Yeah,
Worlds, and then
it's cool.
she's a throwaway character in the original
Yeah.
series. Yeah, it's
hmm
pretty neat. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the original series it has to be this big surprise, like, oh yeah, I have to go back to Vulcan because yeah, I have to get married. It's like what?
Yeah, so there we go. That was the award ceremony for Star Trek the original series. So next week, what we're going to do is instead of jumping into what maybe some would assume we're jumping into either the films or Next Generation, we are first going to take a stop and get into Star Trek the animated series. We're only going to cover one episode a week, despite it being only 20 minutes long. They're like 25-minute long episodes. That's okay. It'll be fun to still talk about it, even in a bite-sized manner. So, next week's episode will be Beyond the Farthest Star from Star Trek, the animated series. And as always, if you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Share it with all your friends and family and Trek enthusiasts. And subscribe so you don't miss an episode, especially when the new series starts. You don't want to miss any of that. And ring that bell for notifications so you don't miss the podcast, but any other things that come out, like Star Trek history, or eventually an RPG. So you can go down to the comment section and always let us know what you think about the podcast, about the episode we're talking about, anything at all Star Trek related. Let us know down below.
Down below.
Also, you can go over to Caleb's channel in any of the meantimes. If you don't want to watch something on my channel, you can always go over to his channel, find something over there. He's got a lot of prop building over there. He's got Star Trek things over there. He makes a lot of wide variety of things, so there's a good chance you'll find something that you may like to even build or just watch, or, a gift idea, anything like that. But Caleb, do you have anything coming up that we should let the viewers know about?
Yeah, so I have another room build out. I made the classic like Millennium Falcon bunk shelf.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever they call it. So there's like the crash couch. That's very classic. And then there's like the crash shelf, which goes like above the bench.
Yeah.
So I built that into the wall. I put some cool pads on it. And yeah, I kind of show you how I made that. That's a pretty fun build. I'm happy that's done because kind of broke my brain a little bit with all the curve.
Yeah.
Doing drywall in like curves is not something I'm ever used to doing. I'm glad that's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so next week is the there's an anniversary for Space 2001. So I want my plan is to make like a little diorama of the monolith and like the rocky planet, which would be kind of fun. Yeah, maybe I'll 3D print some kind of like gorilla reaching towards it. But yeah, that's my plan.
Yeah, that's cool.
Stay tuned.
All right. So that'll conclude the Retrek review this week. So Caleb, send us out.
All right, M5, take us home and don't shoot any Federation ships.
See you guys.
Why are you doing this, Enterprise? Kirk, why are you shooting at us, Kirk? I thought we were friends, Kirk. Kirk.
This is it.
You guys don't think something's wrong with like the M5 computer, do you?
Nope.
No. I think it's definitely Kirk. Kirk, why are you doing this, Kirk? That's the best episode. There you go.
Yeah, that's the one you meant. Yeah.
Do you see it, Enterprise?
Do you see it?
Do you see it, Enterprise?